Okay, let's move along here. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create the weight map for the hand. I'm going to go ahead and reselect those last points that we had for the thumb. And in that instance, I'm going to create a new weight map. I'm going to call this right hand. And if you remember, we gave those a value of 25%. So I'm going to go ahead and give this an initial value of 75%. And now I'm going to move over here, select, actually not those points, I'm going to select all the other points with our hand. So let's go into our top view. And, well, actually first let's go ahead and get these. These were the last points in our fingers, and if you remember, we gave all of those a value of 50%. So now what we want to do is give them a value of 50% for the hand. Actually, just to make sure here, I'm going to make sure that I get the right points. I'm going to go ahead and select these fingers. And I'm going to hide those. Let's go ahead and set the vertex map value of 50% for those. I'm going to hit Shift right bracket to expand my selection a little bit. And deselect those. And let me see which point that one is right there. I'm going to deselect that point, and deselect that point. Looks like I've already got that one. And I'll give that a value of 100%. We may have a little overlap here in the end, and that's okay. Because remember that, in creating weight maps, this isn't something that we're going to immediately and directly see the results of. We actually are going to have to go back into layout and put our character through some motions and check our deformation. So in the end, if we end up having to come back and edit some of these weight maps to change around our deformation, it's not too big of a deal. It's a little bit of extra work, but sometimes that's the way things go. Okay, now I'm going to deselect those points. Go in here and select these. Actually, let's unselect those. And I'm going to, well, maybe we should leave those selected. Yeah, I think that we should. Let's go ahead and here in our perspective view, check out our point selection. Make sure that we've got everything that we want. And I think since I see a little bit of weight happening right there, I'll go ahead and deselect that. Deselect that. So really what we're looking here at is we've got all these points over here, but we're leaving out some of these points here where we have already created a little bit of weight. So let's leave that one out too. Okay, let's go ahead and set value there, and we're going to leave that at 100%. That's looking pretty good. Deselect those points. I'm going to select these points, and I'm going to give them a value of 50%. Okay, so that was kind of confusing. Maybe I didn't show you the absolute best way there of handling or of doing the hand. But I think that you'll get the general idea of what I'm trying to accomplish there. And that is to, in this inner portion of the hand, have 100% weight. As it gets to the outer boundaries here, have some fall off on those weights so that for the bones that are connected or associated with the joints next to the hand will have a nice fall off there. So let's go ahead and just call that done and move on to our next part here. So remember here I had these points selected in the hand and I gave those a value of 50%. So I'm going to reselect those points now, and then I'm actually going to go over here and I'm going to select these points as well. So we've got the two outer the outer boundary here of the right lower arm. I'm going to create a weight map. I call that right lower arm. Give those a value of 50%. Stay in here for view. And, well, actually I'll have to go back in here because my screens are pretty small right now. I'm going to deselect all those points. I'll select all these points in between, and I'm going to create one weight map that's going to work for both of these bones. So actually I'm not going to create, I'm just going to add in to that, and that's going to be 100%. So we had 100% on these inner points, and then 50% on these outer points. And this one weight map, which we're calling right lower arm, is the one that gets associated with these two bones. Okay, now I'm going to select these points here, and I'm going to create a new weight map. I'm going to call this right up arm, and I give that a value of 50%. And then I'm going to select these. I'm going to add into that 100% weight. Let's go into our foreview so now you can see what's happening over here. I'm going to select all these points here. Oops, not that one. So that will be 6 points. And I'm going to add in a value of 50%. And then I'm actually going to hit Shift right bracket, and then I'm going to deselect these points here. I'm going to deselect these points here. So we've got those. And I'm actually going to give this a little value, and I'm going to give that 25%. And that's going to give us just a little bit more fall off into the torso, which I'm hoping that will ultimately give us pretty nice deformation. So let's go ahead and we'll actually move on to the legs, and then we'll come back and deal with the torso and the spine. Okay, now in the legs, I'll go ahead and start here right at the toes. And select these points here, create a new weight map, and actually, you know what I need to do? Look at that. I was about to select the wrong part, too much of our skeleton there, or of our mesh. So I think in this instance what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the left part of our character. And remember that our character is facing the positive z-axis, so that means on the right side we've got the right side of the character, and on the left side we've got the left side of the character. Actually, I still have part of that hand hidden, so I'm going to unhide that. And I'm going to lasso select, just a general selection here. And then paint in the rest of the selection. And if you want to use your volume tool, you can certainly do that as well. Just give me a second here while I make sure that I grab everything. I'm at the minus key. And looks like I missed a couple parts there. Hit the minus key. Okay. Let's go back into our right viewport. Still got those points selected, and I'm going to create a new weight map, and this is going to be called right toes. It's going to get a value of 100%. Deselect that. Select this next band of points. I'm going to add to map value of 50%. And look at that, very nice. Let's go ahead and create another weight map. We'll call this right foot. And actually we need to give that a value of 50%. And we'll need to stay in our right viewport here. I'm going to select all of these points here. And I'm going to add to the selection, or add to the map, a value of 100% on those. And then finally here, I'm going to add in 50% for the ankle region. So that looks pretty good. Okay, let's move on here. See if I can try to keep all this in 4 views so you can see what's going on. We'll need to select these points here, create a new weight map. It's going to get a value of 50%. This is going to be right lower leg. Deselect those. Select all these points here. Verify my selection in the perspective view. That looks right. Add in value of 100%. Deselect those. Actually, I think we can give these a value of 100% as well. It's really what we're looking for here is the knee. And right at the knee, we want to have a value of 50%. Looks like I've got all those points there. 50%. Okay, we keep that selection for the moment. I'm going to go in and create a new weight map. This is going to be right up leg. That's going to get a value of 50%. And I'm going to deselect those points starting down here. I'm going to go all the way up. Let's see those points and these points over here. And I'm going to leave those for now. Add in a value of 100%. And now, I'm going to back view. I'm going to shift select, or shift right bracket a couple of times to expand the selection. Then I'm going to deselect these points over here. And all that did was help me quickly select those points there. And actually I'm going to do shift right bracket one more time and deselect these. So I just grabbed 3 rows right there. And I'm going to add in a value of 50%. Okay. And I think that's going to be okay for the moment. Legs can be a little bit tricky right at the hip point where the hips and the legs join. Again, this is one of those things where probably it'll be best to evaluate it once you get back into layout and see how well your character deforms. And then you may need to go back and add in some weight or even take some out. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this lesson. In the last lesson on weight mapping, we're going to go ahead and deal with this torso and the head, and then we'll be done. Do make sure right now, save your scene or save your object. We've done a lot of work. We don't want to have to do it again.